Hi everybody, welcome in. I'm Mark McLean. This is the Norseman by Grimsmo Knives. John Grimsmo and his brother Eric did a fantastic job with this one. You've seen it before if you followed me. You know a little bit about this knife. It's one of my very early first grails that was a grail to me. I never thought I'd be able to get one, but it just shows you what determination and saving will do, right? I wanted to show you today, and I haven't tested this yet, so we may have a flop. It may be a belly up flop. I'm just going to see how sharp this Norseman is, and this is after keeping it for, well, let's see, he wrote on it, custom made September 2013 for Mark McLean, so it was September of 2013. So it's coming up on 2 years anniversary that I've had this knife, and I've used it. RWL 34 steel is really some good quality steel in my opinion. This was sharpened back when the Grimsmo knives, the Norseman, and at that time they hadn't come up with their latest knife that they now have. But back then they sharpened all of them on the Wicked Edge sharpening system. Now they use a belt sharpening system to sharpen their knives because it's more economical, I guess, quicker, you know, and takes less man hours, so therefore they can get a jump on things that way. Back then, when this knife came out 2 years ago, they had a Wicked Edge, and that was the way Eric did all of the sharpening. Before the Rask, I believe that's how you pronounce it, their new knife, was even released. Anyway, we're going to see how sharp it still is after 2 years. 2-year anniversary coming up. And it, like I said, it may flop, it may not cut. The reason I decided to do this is because I checked it on some hair on my arm and on my leg. And I'm bald now to the point where I guess you can't even see any hair. But anyway, after checking it, I thought, well, wait, I'll just quickly do a demonstration, and that way we'll find out if it's still sharp after 2 years, okay? That's the purpose behind this one. Here we go. 1 sheet phone book paper is our first one, and we will test it from the tip, the point where it's made for. I use it for 1001 particular opening things, because that's so perfect to push down and score like the top of something. So you're going to open a box, you can just push that tip down and just score the tip all the way through the tape, and it opens it right up. Plus it's got jimping here on the spine, which makes it fantastic to push down on, and if you have any grip issues. This is a smaller, thinner type knife, so it weighs a little less than some of the others that I pack, but it has its good attributes. I personally like that feeling. It feels like I guess the most perfect gentleman folder you could find. Anyway, we're going to try the tip and see what we have, because I don't know how sharp this knife is. Just checking. Wow, it's still cutting. Look at there. That's just the tip alone, and that is still sharp. Like I said, I just wanted to find out because of the fact that I tested it on some hair on my leg and my arm, and I thought I would just check, and it's still very sharp. All right, so now we will do the blade test. Now this part should, I don't know that it is, I don't think it is, it should be a lot more dull than the tip, because I've used this part of the knife more so than this part, especially back toward the heel of the blade near the spine, or rather the choil area and the bolster vicinity near the pivot area. So here we go. We'll check it back here toward the back first, and this page has been torn, so that's not a good working page. We will go to a new page just so we can have a straight line, okay? Make sure this is fairly done. RWL 30 steel, or 34 steel. Here we go. You know, it does show some signs of wear a little bit toward the heel, but still very sharp right there. I can feel it. It's fantastic. Let me punch a hole through the paper and we'll draw straight down from that vicinity back, all the way back to the heel and the thumb stud area near the pivot, and it cuts perfectly. So it is still sharp in that area. It's hard to get a good piece to just try on the heel. I really can't get a good enough grasp on the page. But anyway, we'll try it here in the center. And in the center, it's still sharp. I don't know if you noticed or not, it took some snags. It was grabbing. There are a few places or indentions, which we call, they're not really chips, but I think sort of like rolled areas in this edge. I checked it, I guess it's been a couple of weeks ago, because I thought it grabbed on something and I couldn't find anything. Then, let me check just real quickly to see. You know, it's nothing to speak of, really. I mean, you can see, you know, where it has cut through some heavy-duty stuff, but still, it's still cutting. Well, that's tearing there because of the paper, but you can still see that it's definitely cutting. So, for a knife to still maintain an edge, I've never sharpened this once. Not one time have I sharpened it. For a knife to have this type of an edge after 2 years, that speaks volumes as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about you. Maybe your knives are better and this is just subpar, not even adequate in comparison, in comparison to what you have. But to me, a knife that will cut like that after 2 years, that's worth the investment. And you say, hey, that's a $600 knife, man. $700, depends on what you have done to it. $800, right, it is. Doesn't mean that the steel is, or the edge is going to last that long. It really doesn't. Just because I paid a lot for a knife. And this isn't the most expensive knife I've owned or have, but it is well worth. What I'm getting to is the fact that, in my opinion, it's well worth what this knife's value is set at. The dollar price they're asking for these knives is spot on, in my opinion. Price point, check. Great quality, RWL 34 steel. I'm not sure about the hardness rating on this. I'm guessing probably around 62 to 65 RC. It's really nice and a great knife. From the Norseman brothers themselves, the brothers Grimsmo. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you being here. And you keep your knives extra sharp. That way you will never be in a bind when you need to cut your way out. And if you can't get them sharp, send them to me, okay? And I'll do it for you. mirrorededges@yahoo.com. That's my email address. Thanks once again. Have a great evening and a great rest of the work week. Peace.